What's going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today we're going to talk to you about SoundHound. I want to go over some of the current data points, break it down on what is really prompting this bloodbath, and go over everything else that you need to know, including should you buy the dip. Before we get into any of that, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So SoundHound is down 8.75%, 849 the low, 933 the high. And as I mentioned in my video yesterday, you are seeing lower and lower volume. So even right now, 19.5 million shares being traded, 52.3 is the average. Whenever you have a heavily shorted stock and you have low volume, you have a recipe for disaster. So I think this is one thing that's been really plaguing SoundHound over the last little bit, causing it to go down roughly, like over the last 1 month, down 41.66%, even over the last 5 days, down 21%. So definitely not a good picture what is playing out. And this is why I've seen a lot of messages and comments and DMs just asking, hey, do I need to buy the dip? Like, what is happening? Because based on what has happened, I think a lot of people did buy in roughly around that $20 range in anticipation that was going to just FOMO to, I've even seen like as high as $100. So crazy high predictions. But with this pullback, I think it has people stuck. So they want to know like, hey, should I buy the dip or not? So let's kind of analyze what is happening with the broader market. There's a lot of inflationary fear. So inflation is going to go up, linking and prompted by the tariffs. And consumers already are very fragile. So this is now where analysts are kind of feeding off of the fear and saying, hey, these tariffs are going to break the market, going to prompt a recession. So that's what's causing all of this, is a lot of fear. And that's prompting the market to reevaluate each stock. And like, for instance, if a stock has a high multiple, such as SoundHound, as what it did, it's knocking it down. So essentially it's resetting. So in my opinion, I think just the market is overdoing it a little bit with SoundHound, but with their upcoming earnings, that's a very rare opportunity that they can actually sell themselves and say, hey, I get it, we aren't profitable, but this is our plan. We're going to be doing acquisitions and so forth to improve our kind of exposure. They did actually put out news on a side note today, largely just getting brushed under the rug, but it does show SoundHound AI unveils next generation AI platform for restaurants, enhancing dynamic drive-through with omni-channel ordering, which I think is good, definitely very good. And I like SoundHound and what they're doing, but at the same time, they don't announce any new partnerships. So that is definitely a very big red flag for SoundHound, is the fact that they have done countless actual like conferences, but they don't really have much to show for it. And I think, again, that's what the market is really seeing as a negative. If SoundHound said, hey, we got McDonald's, we got Taco Bell, we did this, this, and this, and we are potentially in talks with, let's say, I don't know, just throwing it out there, Tesla, then yeah, the stock would definitely appreciate. But right now, investors are kind of stuck saying, hey, what's the next big thing for SoundHound? So as far as right now, if you need to buy the dip, in my own opinion, it's better to buy a stock if you have confirmed information. And with their earnings coming up, that might be a good kind of segue into a resulting in a buying opportunity. So market is just going to do what it wants, and most likely it is going to continue to do what it wants up until Nvidia's earnings, which is after hours on Wednesday. So if you believe in it bigger picture, then definitely buy the dip, do what you need to do, but you definitely do need big money to get behind SoundHound and really push it higher. If not, you're just going to be at the mercy of shorts, because right now shorts, as you kind of briefly saw, they were returning. Now they're increasing like 12,000 shares. They are very active today. Even first thing, they were increasing 2.5 million shares straight out the gate. So shorts they're having fun with this. They're just doing whatever the hell they want. They increase just to kill any momentum, just to pretty much prompt this sell-off right here, and then they just sit back and they just enjoy the ride. So you need big money, and big money will only buy into a stock if they see good potential. So it's kind of the revolving circle of life, if that makes sense, for stocks. So Let me know your general thoughts on that, but 30.71% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 101.09 million shares overall are being shorted. So shorts definitely do make up for more than roughly about 50% of the daily volume. So SoundHound, or I guess I should clarify, over the last couple of trading days they have, but I think just the market is in wants blood, not just with SoundHound, but across the board. And so if you're going to be buying the dip, then have at it, but just be prepared for a little bit more downside. So I'm going to go over the technicals in a second, but 2.23 million in calls, 2.54 in puts, 46% of all the options being done today are bullish in nature. Of the call options that are being purchased, there's a consensus for it to be roughly around that $11 range slash somewhat 12. So just be kind of aware of that. That's the bullish side of it. The bears are anticipating for it to be sub 8. So there is more upside anticipated based on this. So even the bears are kind of signaling that, hey, SoundHound's gone down a little bit too much in the short term. It's very overdone. So that's kind of a positive thing. Dark pool is popular as very popular today. And a lot of that is linked to shorts. So shorts love to use the dark pool. A couple of big transactions as well that was done after hours yesterday, 2.15 and then 5.4. And when it comes to the dark pool, it is very difficult to tell what is buys and what is sells. You usually just have to look at this column right here just to see if prices do increase before and after. So it went from 942 to 943, and then roughly around an hour later it went down to 935. So it is fair to assume that those were buys, but it's again very difficult to tell. With it at $8.62, it is in free fall right now. So it did break below that 10.02 support. So now that is going to be key resistance level. And then the support is going to be 6.03. So it is kind of crazy to even be talking about the sixes right now. But if the fear does continue, and let's say NVIDIA does really miss on their earnings and there is potential demand issues, then most definitely you will be seeing that $6 range leading into earnings, which would be not the best. But we have to hope for good earnings. No, aside from that though, no actual changes to the actual estimates for SoundHound. So I've been monitoring just to see if any like analysts have changed anything. Still sitting at that negative 10 cents for the earnings per share, and then revenue is sitting at 33.72 billion. Like I said, no real change over anything. So we just have to wait and see what they give for future guidance. I think the market is going to be very forgiving though to SoundHound for the key metrics such as earnings per share and revenue, and they will focus solely on future guidance. So once again, we'll just have to wait and see how that all plays out. But on the actual chart itself, the next real support based on this that you'll want to watch for is that 200-day moving average, and that is sitting at $8.07. So probably won't be touched today, but early on tomorrow that will be a key level to really watch for, and that's going to be pretty much the only support from the now up until that $6 range. So it's kind of crazy, but one thing, if you want to think positively, stochastic RSI is very oversold. So if there's a good piece of news that does come out, then you could see a kind of a push higher. And the next big thing I think is coming out is going to be NVIDIA earnings. So let me know your viewpoint. Are you buying the dip? Are you going to wait till after earnings? What's your thoughts on, for instance, this news, which is good, mind you, but what's your general kind of thoughts on them not really announcing any partnerships? Do you think that they're waiting for their upcoming earnings, or do you think that they just haven't gotten any yet? What's your kind of takeaway from all that? Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And then one final thing, if you're looking for some good buy signals and day trades, pop over to my Patreon and give buy signals on stocks, options, and crypto. Many of them have been absolutely on point. Definitely worthwhile to pop over there and take a look. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.